Good evening and welcome to Enemy Within. It is Friday the 11th of September, memorable date in anyone's book. And tonight we've got quite a show lined up for you. We've got all the latest news and information from the CSA inquiry. And we've got Mickey Summers, Russell Burton, Kaz and Mark Fragz Smith lined up tonight. So good evening, everyone.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Good evening. You alright?
How's it?
We're fine, thanks. So, who's going to kick it off then?
I think it's down to Kaz.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, go for it, Kaz.
Cheers, guys. Just land it all on me.
Yeah,
we love you.
We always do.
Darling, yeah. Anyone can, top me if I screw up. Okay, alright. Okay. Well, we were in Wakefield today for Mickey Summers and Catherine Wilmot and various other abuse victims of Wakefield and West Yorkshire. Mickey had a meeting with the council, which I'll let him fill you in on properly in a moment. That means you're up next, Mickey. In with him went Russell Burton as a witness and one of the police liaison that we had for the day. Silent G. Dave. Nice guy for a cop. The meeting wasn't too successful by all accounts. We made some good contacts though, on the street whilst we were down in the second part of the protest at the cathedral. Quite a few people were stopping and asking more questions. We ended up with one poor lad in tears sat under a tree. Not very old, I'd say maybe 17. Mm-hmm. And he just sat there and burst into tears. Apparently he'd been abused by a family member. So Catherine and I believe Wendy were dealing with him for a while. One of the officers that was with us from the police liaison team opened up to me whilst Mickey was in having his meeting and admitted he'd been abused by a family member as a child, which was very open of him and not the sort of behaviour you expect from somebody that's there to police your protest.
Not really, yeah. But
fair play to him, and I thanked him for telling me. He went into conversation at length with me. And he seems to have come to terms with it to the extent that anyone can.
Yeah.
He seems to be dealing with it well. He hasn't let it ruin him. He hasn't let it destroy him like so many do. Yeah. And he accepts now that it wasn't his fault. He was a child and he did nothing wrong. Mm-hmm. Which, as we all know, is the first step to getting over it, getting around it, getting to terms with it and dealing with it.
Yeah.
And it's like he said to me, when you can stand there and say to somebody, yes, this happened to me, you're halfway there.
Well,
Mickey, how did your meeting go?
Not as good as I would have hoped for, but I didn't go in with expectations. You go in with an expectation and you walk out with a massive resentment. I've come out with a resentment as it is. But I'd like to touch on what you spoke about, Kaz, that policeman, because you know what? I take my hat off to the fella because we know we've got good guys and bad guys in the police, but West Yorkshire Police, I have to say, hand on heart, we had a lot of honest dialogue from them. They get what we're doing. We get the fact that we're actually trying to do something for future generations. And that fella, he blew my socks off. And I was quite close to tears when he was talking to me in private. And that kind of set the tone for me going in. It tapped into some of how I felt. And I have to say that, but for Russell and Sergeant Holden from West Yorkshire Police, that John Wilson, I'm not going to say on air what I would have liked to have done to him. You can use your own imagination, but the man, he is a paedophile protector. He's the gatekeeper to the paedophiles that ran rampant through the former West Riding social services, now known as Wakefield, with attachments to your area, Calderdale, attachments to Nottingham, attachments to Cheshire, attachments to Staffordshire, Derbyshire, North Wales. But if we're going to get a real honest appraisal of how that meeting went, the best man for it is the man that was on the outside looking in, Russell Burton.
How you doing, guys? I'll
Thanks
jump in there if you don't mind.
Yeah, thanks.
The police that have been tasked to us, I've got to take my hat off to them. They've been absolutely wonderful. They've been engaging. They've been helpful. Normally we get a lot of standoff from the authorities, but the warmth that we've had from these people, it really is encouraging. Across the north now, we're pulling cities together, and it's really coming off for us. It's really people are really starting to listen to the message now. We put a group together that's coordinated from different angles of this movement, whereas I'll be dealing with the Pedminster, and Kaz is dealing with the homes, and Mickey's dealing with the homes. We've got a great little network set up. Can't wait for the next one. Can't wait for the next one tomorrow, to be honest, at Westminster.
Well, I'm looking forward to going down with you, Russell.
Yeah, I'll be down at yours tomorrow. As to John Wilson and the meeting this morning, I think Mickey will agree when we walked in there. His demeanour, his character wanted to shut us down straight away. He wasn't going to take any questions that might lead him anywhere. He wasn't going. It was a case of, can't find your files, game over for me, I've got no other conversation. Wouldn't engage with us, wouldn't try to facilitate any other avenues that we might need to explore. He was a man that, well, I can't say that live on air, but
had a lot to hide, possibly.
Had a lot. Yeah, that's probably about the best way of putting
possibly.
it. Yeah,
protector.
Yeah, agreed. So
Now, one disturbing thing today. Sorry, Russell, go on.
no, you continue, Kaz.
One disturbing thing today was when a paedophile and his wife joined the group. Don't know if you guys were actually aware of it. Catherine made me aware of it at the start whilst you were in Wakefield 1. There's a woman with long black hair, going silver at the top, and she was later joined by a guy in jogging bottoms, tracksuit bottoms, not your standard tracky bottoms, but jogging bottoms. And they never interacted with the group. They didn't walk with us from Wakefield 1 down to the cathedral, but they did join us down there. Now, he is a paedophile, and that is his wife, who is stuck by him. Now, he approached Anne-Marie today and started to try and engage with her. Now, until we got down to the cathedral, Anne-Marie wasn't that up close, was she? She hadn't been seen within the group. She had been absent. So he immediately approached her and tried to say that his family member that had a problem with him, a vendetta with him, had tried to set him up. Now, by all accounts, it's proven that it was him. I can't go into more detail at this moment because I can't remember them, to be fair. There was that many people throwing stuff at me today that it just my mind went into overload. So I do need to recap with people. But I can't understand why he was there, why they joined, or how they found us at Wakefield 1 to come and sit with or by us, and then follow us down to the cathedral and not even interact with anyone except somebody that had been absent from the group at the start.
Yeah.
You with me? It just strikes me as odd.
Yeah.
Well, we do get it. We do get it on the social media pages. You know that people that troll us, and then they turn out to be paedophiles. I've had a few recently on Twitter that I've had to delete, and they just troll you. And then what their game is, they want to provoke you into doing something, and then you're the criminal. When in fact, really, they're the criminal that's done things that's going to affect people for the rest of their lives, and maybe they're not doing it now, but what they're doing, right, is provoking people, which is bringing all their stuff back and creating a reaction, and then they hope that the police will interject and nick you. Well, I'm so glad that you didn't tell me, because I would have had to rip his head off and shit down the hole.
No, what I did do is tell the Metropolitan Peacekeepers that we had with us. Thank you, Johnny, for that. Fantastic day with you as ever. And I also informed the liaison team.
Thank you.
Brilliant.
So that it didn't get to that point. So that they were aware of it, and we had a peaceful protest like we need.
Yeah.
Well done, Kaz.
Agent provocateurs, aren't there? There was someone in Nottingham we found out afterwards, and that was
yes, there was.
And there's quite a lot of us connected doing loads of research and digging around a lot more.
Well, there was one at Manchester, wasn't there?
I wasn't at that one. I did hear though, yeah. But this does happen a lot.
Manchester, you were?
Which one? Oh, at Midland.
Yep, Midland Hotel. Midland
I wasn't aware of that one. Did I?
Yes, you are. Yes, you are. You've had contact with him.
All right, okay, got you. Yeah. I won't mention no name. Jim Wilde? Yeah, sorry.
Go on.
It's something that we've got to expect, isn't it? But as long as we continue doing what we do, well, that's what matters. We're changing things. We're making a difference here. They can turn up as much as they like. You know, they can listen to the stories. They can listen to the victims and survivors. What we do is what we do. We'll continue to do it no matter who turns up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Can I explain regarding that name I just mentioned? As Kaz said, I have been in touch with this person. I was approached by them regarding making a movie. Obviously, I put this to the rest of the team up and down the country. It's obviously a no-go. But there's a lot more out on that one, just to clear that up, to be on the safe side. Anyway.
Yeah.
The one thing that I'd like to really interject with, Brenda McNamara and Bill Maloney came up with this idea of these United pages. Well, I'm not going to get into the realms of slating them, but we've travelled the length and breadth of this country, right? And apart from people from the Midlands and the North and the Northwest, right, we don't get nothing, right? We have created an alliance, right, that stretches from Nottingham up through Yorkshire, across through Lancashire, across to Merseyside, and into North Wales. And into Durham. Yep. And that is what we call United. Yep.
Yeah.
And we are going to stay united. We're not going to back away. You know, we're going to take it to the Rotherhams, the Leeds, the Wakefields, the Teesside, Durham. You name it, wherever it's happened, we're coming for you.
Absolutely.
Expect us.
Oh, yeah.
Absolutely. There is a real form of unity coming. I've been to a lot of demonstrations or protests, whatever you want to call them. But within the child abuse and within what we're doing right now, there's an absolutely fantastic sense of unity. I've had to step away myself from Facebook for and social media for a while, because as we were just talking there's too much infiltration, there's too many people trying to suck you into things. But the unity that we've got across the board at the moment, it's a play. If you listen out there, social media, join up with us. I mean, it's the only true movement out there. This is not a money argument for any of us. This is rights of children. And we've got to be united on that. And if we're not united on that, from what I can see from what I've been researching over the last 20, 25 years, These people are coming for your children right now. This is not going to be historic people just to some pedocrats in the 1960s and the 1970s. These people have been actively campaigning over the last 60 years, and they're coming for your children now. They're coming from age of consent. They're coming from education, sex education. Guys, I'm telling you, within the next five years, your children at the age of 7, or if they get away, they'll be dropped. Yvette Cooper's talking about this now, of dropping that age of consent. They want to teach your children. They want to teach your children how to masturbate. They want to teach your children oral sex, anal sex.
There was a program about it on Channel 4 the other week. Sex in the class.
Look at it. I mean, I don't.
And she wanted to send them home at 15 with vibrators. She sent the girls home with a mirror to examine themselves, yeah? And she says, would it be okay if this was done? Would parents have a problem with it? Would whoever have a problem with it? And she was told, yes, actually, we would. You can't be doing that kind of shit.
No.
It's all stemming from the United Nations, this. And it's going through to the EU. You've got Gordon Brown, head of education for the EU. And we all know what he's been involved with. All these people, they've got so many skeletons, and a lot of it's to do with paedophilia in the cupboards, and they are pushing this agenda. They own the schools, they own us now. And if we don't stand up against this, like Russell says, perfectly said, they're coming for our children next. It's that simple.
Absolutely.
This is a global agenda. I mean,
it is. It's a pedophile's agenda. This has been going. When we say, we use this word historic all the time, it leaves the mindset stuck in the 1960s.
Yeah.
This is here. This is here, and it's right now. This is here. We were speaking to hundreds, if not thousands, of victims and survivors from all over the country. This is being put in place over the last 60 years. These politicians, these pedocrats that were in power, it wasn't just a number of pedophiles that just randomly appeared in a particular parliament, in a particular office, in a particular governance. The reason this is being hidden is because that system went on to today. I mean, look at our society now. In the 80s, the country was drugged. There were so many designer drugs flooding into the market in the late 80s, in the 90s. Look at the relaxation law on pornography. Look at the relaxation laws on alcohol and drug. This is their policy. This is their policy. They've got us, the parents, to look the other way. Now they're coming into the schools right now. If we let this hit our schools, we will change the face of society forever, and you won't get it back. Parents in this country need to understand that they're going to have all of their parental rights taken away from them. You won't have any parental rights, and if you're thinking about protesting when it gets to parents' evening, well, you've got another thing coming, people.
The police will be there.
Absolutely. They'll be arresting you and fining you.
Yeah. I mean, going back to when us lot was all at Manchester, which was a great day, we was looking at some of the tweets. Now, this was the social services directors of the country in a secret meeting using the Chatham House room in the Midland Hotel. It's not the first time they've used that venue as well. Anyway, so looking at the tweets after that, you started to see because they had allocated tweeters for the public, probably to give an air of appeasement that it's not all secret and hidden. Now, you had Peter Fahey there, who's the head of Great Manchester Police, and he was going on about terrorism and domestic extremists. What this boiled down to, going off the clues of these tweets, they want to put mental health specialists into the schools itself. Now, if you put that alongside the sex education policies coming right the way down from the United Nations, what we're going to see is if a child says, no, my mummy and daddy says this is wrong, social services are in like a flash. That meeting was to empower them to force this sick agenda through right across the country. And it's starting from 5 years of age. It's happening internationally. This is global. The evidence is everywhere to be seen. But they're planning.
Totally agree. I totally agree. I believe within 10 years we will have lawful pedophilia in this country through policy. Yeah. It's coming. It's coming, mums and dads, and you better wake up and get your head out of your ass because it's coming for your children.
See how many? I mean, I've said this myself. I had a wake-up call a few years ago with my eldest lad in school. They had a police officer in the school 5 days a week, walking around school with a teacher whose title is head of discipline. See, this, I didn't know what my child was being learned until an incident happened with that police officer and my child. And then that was it. Then worms opened and I couldn't believe it. And that's when I see the sex education agenda coming through the schools. They're getting specially trained teachers using neuro-linguistic programming.
Absolutely. NLP.
You don't know what your kid's done at school. They are stealing your child's mind. It's simple as that. It's indoctrination. I mean, I can go deeper. I mean, if a lot of people probably aware there is they want a global government, a global currency, they want a global religion. Once you start looking at the surface of that, and then you whittle it down, how do they enforce this? How do they implement it? That's where you start hitting, the sickness. And
it's funny.
People are doing this, teachers and everything. They're doing it.
Yeah, it's funny you should say that about the global movement. Now, I offer this with no religious connotations whatsoever to anybody. But I do believe that one of the reasons that we are seeing multiculturalism right now in the UK is because I do believe that these pedocrats are trying to insert themselves under doctrine. Now, that doctrine exists within moderate religions. So they can insert themselves into the rights of children at 13 years of age. It's a sneaky plan, but that's where they're coming from.
Well, all religions are to be protected, yet go under one flag with the United Nations anyway.
Yeah. Well, you can't mess about with somebody's religion. That's the call,
Well, you become a domestic extremist in social service.
Exactly.
Kids are in the home. There's the circle.
Yeah, exactly. My argument isn't with a religion, but my argument is that these pedocrats are forming themselves within this religion because they can hook themselves into that doctrine that gives them access to 13-year-old children. Once that doctrine's in place, you'll see a radical doctrine take place, and then we'll move into areas like Pi where they want the age limit at 4.
Yeah.
I mean, that can't be allowed to happen in Britain. I tell you what, if it does, I leave.
Well, I made a comment today regarding the NSPCC, and if we do have what we know, obviously for the viewers, listeners, sorry, the NSPCC is nothing but Pi evolved and extended. It's got more tentacles now.
Yeah.
Oh, don't get me started on NSPCC.
Well, no, please do, Kaz, because not many know, because obviously a lot of hard work's going into this, and it needs to be exposed, doesn't it?
This week, I had a phone call from Wrexham Council. The NSPCC had given them my details after I had contacted the NSPCC via the inquiry into child sexual abuse. Mm-hmm. The National Independent Inquiry. I didn't even know it was NSPCC that were running their lines until they sent me an email over a month later telling me so. But the NSPCC then gave my details to Wrexham Council, including my phone number.
Isn't that a breach of data protection, surely?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Gave them details of the abuse I suffered in care.
Jeez. Oh.
And then told them to contact me in relation to information regarding one of the private companies in Wrexham.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's all starting to get a little bit deep when they have an organisation that's got already in disrepute like the NSPCC.
Running the helplines for the inquiry.
Yeah, exactly.
Tip of the iceberg, though, isn't it?
Mm.
But that's the tip of the cover-up. They can siphon out the ones they don't want going forward then.
Yeah.
Well, exactly. And this is the point that David Hollis, the chair of our Nottingham Action Group, still fighting for the independent public inquiry here in Nottingham. I mean, that's a real man, a man of integrity that served his country for 35 years, a retired colonel with an MBE behind him for services to his country. What he's doing today, he views as actually being service to his country and his fellow man and woman. And he was totally gobsmacked at what he learned when he contacted that helpline to find out what they do. And he got through to the NSPCC. Part of the establishment again.
Yeah.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
See, just going back there as well with how they treated you, Kaz. I mean, they're literally getting all that information. They're potentially going to make you relive everything. This is meant to be compassionate. This is how it's being sold to the public. It's not. The reason I'm saying this is because if you've made, I'm not a survivor, but what I've learned a lot in the last 2 years, especially, and they do tend to aim for survivors and try and make them relive to break them.
Yeah.
And this is the kind of thing, because if we look at the councils we're on about anyway, they've done nothing for decades anyway. If not, these people have been promoted when they failed. They've got higher up in the chain. They're controlling and writing policy. And a lot of this policy comes from Kinsey as well, who was in charge of social services decades ago, or one of the advisors. And if you look at his work, which stems from the concentration camps of Nazi Germany, this is all what we're seeing. As I said before, the NSPCC, as just one organised NGO as an example, they're literally an extension of what PI was, who was set up in the Home Office. So when you're talking historical, and the way they're manufacturing consent and social engineering the public with the media, who were well on side with these sick bastards, this is what we're seeing. That's the only thing historic should be mentioned, is PI, how it was based in the Home Office and funded through taxpayers' money. The extensions of that, the people involved in that. You've had that idiot who was talking on 60 Minutes Australia, saying a 4-year-old can consent to sex. This is a little bit over sick, this is, surely. People are just brainwashing themselves with the TV. It's not that serious. It's absolutely serious. People like us, there's many, many others, doing what we're doing around the country. This is possibly the last line of defence. And all it takes is plenty more people to be getting involved. We're already seeing signs now that we're getting to people. If you look at South Yorkshire Police lately, they're looking to get legal advice to stop protests. Yeah. What have they got to hide? What have they got to hide? They have everything to hide.
They know we're coming.
All we do have meant them to grow and not stop growing, and we've got a fighting chance.
Okay.
Today we had one lass there that had been in a home in Rochdale, and they were solo occupancy homes with 6 staff in rotation. How can that be safe? And she says, they were always over-friendly, and I just tried to stay out of the way.
That's disturbing.
That is very disturbing, Kaz. And I noticed we're at the half-hour mark, so I wonder if now would be just the time to give everybody a chance to have a wee break, cup of tea, whatever they want. And there's a particular song I've got lined up that I'd like to play for all survivors out there everywhere. So we'll be back in a few minutes.
Speak the truth in the eyes of our children. Nothing can hide their despair. There is no way for us to regain their innocence. We can search, but we know it's not there. But when you play your games, you must understand there is a price so high. The tide is in your hands. You say you won, but I say you're wrong. The loss of a child is no victory for anyone. Same time every morning, there's a feeling that the world will start over again. And you're gonna get on with your life. Get on with
listening to www.peoplesinternetradio.com. Seeking solutions.
And welcome back to Enemy Within this Friday evening. And we've got a brilliant round table going with Russell Burton, Kaz, Mickey and Mark Fragz Smith. And I'd just like to take a moment out to point out to you that peoplesinternetradio.com is entirely supported by listener donations. So if you think we're doing an important job here and you'd like to help us keep going, if you could hop over to the website, that's www.peoplesinternetradio.com, and just underneath the player on the site, there's a donate button there. And if you could just drop £1, £2 or £3 or euros, dollars, shekels, zlotys, whatever you've got, drop them in there and that would help us keep going. Thank you very much, folks. Right over, back to you, Kaz. I believe you've got a little bit more you wanted to say on that particular subject.
Will brass buttons do?
Mm-hmm. Anything.
Right, yeah, back to the last I was on about just before the break there, the last that had been in the Rochdale home. A year or so after she left there, the home actually shut down for abuse, and it was featured in the papers in 2010. The company that owned it was Advanced Childcare. Advanced Childcare is part of Tri-X.
Ooh.
Which, if people aren't aware, they were set up by a paedophile, well, a accused paedophile who is currently going through court on trial for crimes against children in the 80s. They provide the policies for over 200 safeguarding units up and down the country. So, not really safeguarding, is it?
Mm. We have got a suggestion from the chat room. Patrick is suggesting that they shut them in the room with a 4-year-old to play with, but he did specify that it's a 4-year-old lion.
I'll have a ringside ticket.
Yeah. I think we can make money live streaming that, couldn't we?
Keep those suggestions coming in, guys. Keep those suggestions coming in.
That will make
my idea has always been find a huge island, yeah, put a load of animal testing labs underground, yeah, take all the rabbits and the monkeys out of the cages, fill them with paedophiles, yeah, so that they're actually used to humanity, test on animals, and then if they escape, they find out the island is surrounded by, did you see in the papers those testicle-eating piranha that you can get?
Oh, I've heard about them, yeah.
That have been seen off the south coast, surrounded by them, or genetically mutated eel for the females, yeah? So that they can't escape even if they manage to get out of the labs.
Oh, wow.
I was quite looking forward to the guillotine side of things myself.
No, I think
the day out.
Piranha that targets the testosterone or the estrogen would be fantastic.
Yeah.
How else are they going to get away?
Very surgical, that kind of like that.
Well, David Cameron's just learned to swim or what it surf.
Well, they've got some pretty handy sort of fish in the Amazon, haven't they? That they swim down your bell end and eat you from the inside or something strange like that.
Oh, yeah.
Well, the testicle-eating fish, they are actually a breed of piranha, and they just target the testosterone. And they were found off the south coast of the UK this last year.
Maybe they're homing in on Westminster.
Maybe they're endemic to bell ends.
I know a few in Nottingham that could benefit from them.
Yeah.
But yeah, if we take that gene out of them and insert it into an eel, yeah, for the females, yeah.
Yeah, well, we are seeking solutions.
No more pedos. Yeah, I have.
You really
but you put them into animal testing labs first, yeah, so that they are of actual benefit, and it saves a lot of bunnies and monkeys.
Yeah.
Brings a whole new meaning to Moby Dick.
And to animal testing.
Yeah,
then again, though, I wouldn't like to buy anything that says has been tested on a paedophile.
No.
So we're going to bring us back on track, Kaz.
Yeah.
Please do, Kaz.
Right.
Yeah.
I've forgotten where we were now. So Tri-X, pedo company that supplies all the policies for pretty much every council up and down the UK.
Mm-hmm.
I don't even know where to start that one.
What kind of staff do they employ? These the charities, aren't they? NGOs and stuff.
No, they run the training centres for social workers.
Right.
They operate kids' homes, adoption centres, fostering. One of the companies involved handles the independent sector treatment centres. They've got the 100% contract on it.
Don't surprise me one bit. Hid in the plain sight.
And I don't know where to start with this shit. I really don't, because nobody will take it on board.
No.
Apart from a serious breach of data protection to go and tell Wrexham Council.
Yeah.
Well, I think maybe sooner, Kaz, a solution might be that we take our roadshow across to Wrexham.
Yeah, I was thinking about a British tour. I think a British tour would be good. And Belfast.
Well, what I did was draw up a map of the connections to Calderdale, yeah?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Now, it needs extending, obviously, for Nottingham and everywhere where everyone, the core participants of the group, have been and experienced abuse. Now, the map I did for Calderdale, it goes straight up the M1, across the M62, and straight down the M6.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
And that's the same links that we've got as well.
And it hits the M52, yeah, which then opens up everywhere that you can imagine.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, the M52, that goes over into North Wales, doesn't it, Kaz?
That's the 62 and the 6.
Right.
52 is down bottom end of Wales, I think.
Oh,
It
right.
comes out down the bottom end of Telford.
I'm with you. Yeah. I thought 52
and
was the
looks-
one that
And
went over.
looks background for, again, Nottingham.
Mm-hmm.
So I was looking at doing a protesting everywhere that's linked to Calderdale. So Durham, expectors. Market Weighton, expectors. Market Harborough, Nottingham, Leicester, Doncaster, Wrexham, Manchester, expectors.
Yeah.
Newton Aycliffe, expectors.
And likewise with Nottingham, I mean, the furthest one away that I have is Brooklands Remand Home in Langport in Somerset, and I need to get back into the Nottinghamshire archives because a claim was made by the chief executive of Nottingham City Council to a group of protesters in 2013 that no children were sent outside of Nottingham, and we actually have people that are going to be standing in court to call the chief executive of Nottingham City Council a liar. We've got a court register, which is from the juvenile court in Nottingham, and I can recall just from one register alone at least 25 different establishments scattered all over the country, from Gloucestershire, Worcestershire, Edmonton, Somerset, you name it, and kids were sent there. And Kaz was talking earlier about taking stuff to Durham. Well, in County Durham, there's a place called Newton Aycliffe.
Yep.
The
That
main,
is where Rod
main
Miles started his career there.
yeah,
The
well,
Director of Social Services for Calderdale, who was convicted in 88, he started his career there at Newton Aycliffe.
well, Newton Aycliffe was the main assessment centre for all the approved schools from the East Midlands upwards, all the way up to the border with Scotland, for the length and breadth of the divide across the Midlands to the north. And that place has not come under the radar or the scrutiny as yet, as far as
It has.
national media is concerned. Well,
It did for a little while, but it quickly died down.
exactly.
But Leicester, expectors, Birmingham, Sedbergh, expectors.
Britain expectors.
Yeah, we've got...
Sedbergh is in the Yorkshire Dales, yeah? Now, the NSPCC were using them back in the 80s as respite for kids that were facing care but not quite there during the 6 weeks holidays, yeah? They were using the private school that's up there, the boarding school. Now, they are still linked with that school, despite it having been investigated for abuse in the last decade, yeah? And Malcolm Phillips, the head of Skirkett Lodge, where I was first in care, took us out of school one weekend and up to Sedbergh to get us ready for going back to school. How much bullshit can you make up as pretense for taking kids away for the weekend?
Mm-hmm.
Taking them out of education to prepare them for going back to education. By taking them to a private school that hadn't started term yet.
Well, I had a similar scenario at Risley Hall of Proof School where I was wrongly sent. The case that was discharged in October 67. At Risley Hall of Proof School, they had a place where people were coming to the end of their time there. They had another establishment that was linked to it that was yet to be exposed. One of our researchers is digging some more information up, but the thing is, when you ask them under the Freedom of Information for the amount of homes abuse has been reported in, the only ones that they'll give you is ones where there's an active live claim. They will not give you a list of the establishments where abuse has been reported.
Just got perhaps one more to add to your list there, Kaz. We've got Paul in the chat room has said Wolverhampton-ish area. And he also says, go, Kaz, you're a role model to many, and Mickey too. So there's a lot of appreciation.
Thank you, Paul. But I'm not. I'm just a survivor that wants some justice for us all.
Yeah, there's something people don't or misconstrue about us. If you're thinking about standing up in any of this, people, stand, because when you see us do it, there's nothing brave about it.
It's scary as hell.
I pace around all day before I speak. All day. I'm terrified of it. Absolutely terrified of it. Hate it. I'm okay when I get there. So if you're thinking about standing, people, understand it's the same for everybody. Just get out there and do it. We need your support. We're desperate for your support. As I say, we're not just defending victims and survivors here now. We're defending the future of your children, and that's going to hit you in the next 5 years.
And Russell, there are two things that always conquer fear, and the first one's knowledge, and the second one is action.
The first one is accepting it wasn't your fault.
Yeah, sorry, I was speaking about fear in general. That's more particular to what you're talking about, Kaz. Obviously, yes.
Absolutely, Paul. I was a professional musician for for many years. Walked on thousands of stages, but when I get on the stages with a child abuse, that's a different matter. I'm terrified, absolutely terrified about it. I took my girlfriend. Oh, she gets it for 2 weeks before we do these events. You know, so it's the same for all of us, people. You know, get out there and make your mark.
I've had to send Anthony out with the dog to keep him quiet because it just builds up so much in him seeing everything that I go through.
Yeah.
Just on a daily basis without actually getting anywhere.
Yeah, that's obvious. I know from when we've spoken before, Kaz, Anthony chips in with the odd remark, and it's absolutely completely understandable because he lives with the after effects of what you've been through day in, day out, and obviously it's gonna play on his emotions.
There is no support for survivors' families.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, there's none for us really either. Even though it was promised, even before this inquiry got going, we were all promised support, but it's non-existent. But what we really need is support for the survivors' families, those that see us explode on a daily basis, those that see the after effects of a phone call that says no further action or your files have been destroyed.
Yeah, the one thing that I'd like to really touch on though, you know, people talk about us standing up. I'm relatively new at this, having returned from New York, as most people know, last year. And yeah, I got people like Bill Maloney, but that stands up to those paedophiles in Parliament and high-profile people. But you know what? Some of my unsung heroes are people like Russell, people like Chris Todd, right? People
Mandy
like Joe
Copeland.
Hay.
Mandy,
Mandy.
sure.
Listen, I could talk all day about Mandy. I lived under that lady's roof for 8 months, right? And she was my absolute rock. But I can go and travel the length and breadth of this country, right? And I've been up and down, and I've listened to many people. Another guy that's not everyone's favourite cup of tea is Joe Public. Joe, when we was campaigning in Nottingham,
Lovely lad.
And Phil Rafferty, right? They hammered the life out of the protest we had in Nottingham, called Bring Out Your Dirty Laundry.
Yep, remember.
Why? Because we needed to. And we created a massive amount of awareness. But people like Joe Public, he stood out in the pouring rain day after day after day, putting out 5,000 flyers that were
He stood
provided by
out in the
Mickey
pouring
Paul.
rain in Halifax.
Yep. And he stood out in the pouring rain outside Westminster for a week solid, on the run up to the event that we had in January, freezing his arse off.
Yeah.
Well, the thing about
There is no pay for this, right? They all say we're in it for the money.
I'd just like to read out one comment there that we got from Alison in the chat room, and that is big respect to Mickey. Thanks for empowering me to speak out. So this is working, it is getting through to people, and it's helping other people to join in with what you're doing. So hats off to you guys.
Well, in respect to whoever Alison is, you know, I'll put it in a nutshell, right? Till 2003, I was wasting my life away as a drug addict. And the one thing I learned in finding recovery is that an addict can best help and understand another addict. Right? You put that same principle in, a survivor can best help and understand another survivor. So if you're out there, right, and you're still a victim, you need to change that and become a survivor. Listen to what we have to say. Listen to the similarities, not the differences, because that's what the enemy within want you to do.
Yep.
They want you to look as if you're different. You are different because you're going to grow a voice, and you're going to stand up, and you're going to become the person that you're destined to be. I could not believe that I'm doing today from where I was 12 years ago. This is something that you hear about in these 12-step meetings. You know, a life beyond your wildest dreams. This isn't a life, but you know what? Getting it out there is beyond my wildest dreams. I'm not a legend, right? I'm not a hero. Yes, I might have served my country. Yes, I might have done a lot of things in my life, but at the end of the day, I'm just your everyday Joe that's got the balls to stand up and be counted. And if need be, I'm more than prepared to go to jail for my beliefs.
Can I just comment on something I've seen in the chat room from Nora? She says it ruins your life, but you don't know till you're older. You put it on a shelf until you can handle it. Well, no, it doesn't ruin your life unless you let it. Taking back your life, finding that power to stand up and reclaim your life, stops it ruining it. It means you get your life back.
Absolutely.
You reclaim your life from them by standing up and by pointing them out and making them accountable.
Just going back to what Mickey said there, I'm sure when you mentioned Enemy Within, you were referring to something slightly different to the show that you're talking on to.
No, exactly.
Yeah,
well, they're the enemy within because they get into your head. And it's like having to do an exorcism to get rid of them.
Yeah, just to clarify for anyone who hasn't heard the story before, Tom, who started Enemy Within, is from a mining village in the northeast of England, and Margaret Thatcher referred to the miners' families as the enemy within, so that's where he got the name from. So, yeah, we're not the ones who are screwing up Mickey's efforts.
I understand that, Nora. Nora's just said she had to grow up first. We all do, sweetheart. And I feel for you having to go through that. I feel for anyone that's been through that. You know?
We're here for all of you guys. If you need to contact us, get in contact. We're here for you. We can help. We can help with many things, you know. But what we can do is we can get you on your feet and thinking straight. Instead of acting like the victim, we can get you moving forward. It just takes that unity.
If anyone wants to find me, I'm Kaz Tigger. That's T-A-double-G-R, as it's spelt in Winnie the Pooh, not how they actually tell you it's spelt, but how it's spelt in the proper book. Kaz Tigger on Facebook. Add me, and I'm happy to talk with anyone that needs to get their head around any of this.
I mean, sorry, Mickey, go on, mate.
Yeah, I'd like to touch on another subject, because you know what? It's not just us, right? It's our families that bear the brunt of a lot of it.
Well, this is what I was saying earlier, Mickey, with survivors' secondary support.
Yeah. I mean, my wife's a secondary survivor, and you know, she's one of the unsung heroes of this.
Thank you. That's what I just said.
Hello, Lorraine.
Hi, Lorraine.
Listen, how many people, right?
We were still on the list, Laurie.
How many people would allow their husband or partner, right, to travel 3,800 miles, right, and be separated for the best part of a year? You know, because that's what we've done. That's one of the sacrifices that we've made. And
I'd have divorced you.
Yeah, she's a fantastic lady, Mickey. She's a fantastic lady.
well, the only thing that I'm going to ask of everyone that's been behind us, Laurie's got a UK phone number, and it's on that network where you don't pay roaming charges in America. So I'm hoping that all of you guys stay in touch with her once she gets back.
Yeah,
absolutely. Yeah. Well, she's on my Facebook anyway.
Yeah. Well, sometimes those typed out words are meaningless. A voice is much more important.
Yes, that
you
makes...
should take your own advice, Mickey, and call me regular like you're supposed to.
Yeah, go on, Laurie. You tell him.
Thank you.
Busted.
In it.
I would just like to point out that we're putting out all the Enemy Within podcasts on YouTube to give people an alternative way to listen to them. And the one that we did with Lorraine that night when Mickey was busy helping someone else and he couldn't make it, that is actually got more views than any other one we've put out so far. So well done, Lorraine. So
it's working.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's working. It's working. We're getting there, guys. We're getting there.
Well,
maybe if we can line up a show one night with Mickey and Lorraine, then they can actually have a conversation together.
I think that was the plan.
That
was the plan, but Mickey was too busy. He was too busy that night helping someone else.
No, but I mean, once she goes back, because she's going back in a couple of weeks, and we'll miss her like mad.
Oh, of course. Yeah, we're glad to do that anytime we can.
Yeah.
At least then she's guaranteed a voice chat with him.
Yeah.
Don't encourage her.
Sorry, mate.
That's fine. But I'd like to take things back to that meeting that we had, that we'd actually gone there for. That John Wilson, the paedophile protector, right? We know now they're in it together. But the greatest asset that we had today was Sergeant Oldham from West Yorkshire Police, because what they didn't want to have brought out was our good friend Catherine that was with us. And I'm going to withhold her surname like to protect her identity,
Yeah.
but we will be going back to them because Catherine's actually done
She has major unanswered issues with them.
Oh yes, but they've shot themselves in the foot today by means of they've been telephoning her all week to try and engage in dialogue and make all kinds of apologies and stuff, right? Because she's applied for stuff, right, and she's already got it. She's got it from other sources, and they're saying that these records don't exist no more. So we've actually proved it in front of a policeman, right, that they're actually destroying records, right? We now have to leave it and take faith and belief that the crime commissioners in Nottingham and Wakefield and the West Yorkshire police will do a proper job on them, because this could be the one that doesn't just open the can of worms, but takes the lid finally off.
Yeah, absolutely. The day is coming. It has to come. It has to come, because if we don't sort this, well, the day of shame will come. The fallout from that is going to be, it's going to be awesome, but it's going to come, people, whether you like it or whether you don't like it. It's just when. I believe that'll be very, very soon.
I'll use the words of that police sergeant. I can't quote them verbatim, but I'll give them as near as damn it. Like myself, he finds it unbelievable that I have 4 councils involved in my care, time in local authority care.
And none of them have records.
Yeah.
You can discount one, right, and push it to one side. 2, it's a coincidence. Well,
3,
4,
it's a piss take.
Yeah. So what is 4 councils?
A cover up.
Yeah, not even a case of no record. There wasn't even a ledger for the destruction of those records there.
And that's an argument we've had in Nottingham, because I've contacted several independent councils, and they say that there has to be a register. That it would have all your file number, what they call a KPF number, which is a known person's file. That would have your name, date of birth, place of birth, all your siblings, your parents, all your history, everything that you've done.
And your medical check as you entered that area.
Thank you very much. Well, none of these councils that are involved in the cover-ups have them.
Because you have a medical done each time you enter a new facility.
Yep.
In fact, Mickey, would that be an avenue?
And that is meant to go on file with the NHS as well. Have you tried through the NHS?
I was just about to say that. Will there be? Did you have any medical attention during that time that maybe would be?
It is all still meant to be recorded, no matter what you have done, and especially the age that he was first interacting with social services, he would have still needed vaccinations. And regular health checks.
Yep. Secretary of Health is the one who holds that data.
You need to go through the NHS and your GP initially to track all the medical records. I did it with mine over Wrexham. Now my records came back. The ones for 1990, 91 are out of date sync, and it's a piece of cardboard super glued to the page with everything rewritten on it, out of date sync, no doctor's signature, no note of what was actually done to me, just seen. That's it. Now, in amongst that was my pregnancy, my blood test for my pregnancy, couple of prescriptions for antibiotics, varying other bits like raised blood pressure, which is somebody take it off echo, Andy. Raised blood pressure, which took me into hospital in the first place for me giving birth. None of that is reflected in my medical notes. Imran Allen, our medical officer, also ran his own GP practice within Wrexham. And after Bryn Allen shut down, he was last seen running a strip joint in Greece, the Lonely Hearts Club in Athens.
Yeah. Liked his speedboats, didn't he?
Yeah, well, his yachts.
Yachts.
Him and John Allen bought a yacht together.
Yeah. That's documented on a documentary, is that right, Kaz?
Yacht number 2, I will add.
Is it? Oh.
What kind of kids' home needs 2 yachts and a villa in Bordeaux? Because all the boys were taken to Bordeaux. None of the girls went. But John Allen always went off to Bordeaux with the boys. But yeah, back to the doctor. Never signed anything on this piece of cardboard that's superglued to my notes. And the practice manager actually flagged it up as improprieties in my notes. And they are looking at taking it further through the NHS. And that is how you instigate an investigation into your medical notes and possibly then your care records via that if they find improprieties. Yeah?
Well, I think I'm going to have to spend a bit of time with you once I've had my time with the wife before after she's gone back to New York.
That'll be a switch.
But my medical records threw something up that Nottingham City Council and the County Council really resent, because they claim that they never had a children's home called Hazelwood. Now, that place was actually in my evidence given in 2003 on the case that never got investigated, that's currently under investigation by the IPCC. And funny old world it is. There's actually a note that I was seen by a doctor whilst I was there, and it clearly states Hazelwood Forest Grove, which is the exact place where it was. Yet if you put in a freedom of information request wanting the children's homes, that is still not on their list. They're still in denial.
Hold on.
That's incredible, Mickey. It sounds like we've actually...
This is a message for every survivor who is having trouble accessing their records. You need to get back to that mindset of when you were in care and get devious. You need to get sneaky, start thinking their way, and look for every record you can access. Medical, social services, anything. Even schooling, yeah? If you went to mainstream education rather than their education on site, you need to be looking through your education records, because on there somewhere will be what home you were in. Somewhere in your medical notes will be the homes that you were in.
Yeah, great point, Gus.
The one thing I'd like to touch on as well, and Russell spoke about it in public today, and he's broken the subject again tonight. The MPs in Parliament. Well, let's take things to Beechwood, and a survivor that I'm not going to name on air because we're in a bit of conflict with her at the moment, but we have other survivors that have told us about none other than Kenneth Clark. Now, Kenneth Clark is alleged to have took kids on a Sunshine coach which belonged to the Variety Club of Great Britain, another
Savile Enterprise.
Yes, another Savile Enterprise. But I've actually spoken in great depth to one of the people that went on one of those minibuses, and he actually described the actual location as being behind Pimlico Station. There's a restaurant almost across the road by the river called, he called it the Blue Elephant, but it's actually the elephant on the river, and the sign outside it is blue. He described it as being going down 4 streets, this block of flats, with a big massive courtyard in the middle. Well, I can identify that block as being none other than Dolphin Square. Dolphin Square is the VIP Westminster paedophile ring. Now, I took the information that we had, first of all, to Nottinghamshire County Council. Me and Mark Salon gave that information to Steve Edwards, the Director of Social Services. He wrote to Superintendent Ellen Chamberlain to notify her of this. But what he did do, because we believe that Kenneth Clark has some connection to Nottingham County Council, they put in a senior Nottinghamshire MP. Well, Superintendent Ellen Chamberlain of the Nottinghamshire Police needs investigating. She came from South Yorkshire, and she came at a time when they should have been investigating Rotherham. So there's a lot, even with the police, that needs to have serious looks at. But let's take a look at Kenneth Clark in depth, because we went down to try and get a constituency meeting with him near Mark's Lawn. Mark's a constituent of his. Now, we wanted to go and see him. We declined. We asked, would he be willing to talk to us about the Nottinghamshire child abuse and to raise questions in Parliament? No, because you're not a constituent. Now, this is a situation we've got all the way across Nottingham. Right? Not my constituency, not my problem. Well, we were planning on actually asking him, did you take children from Beechwood? Did you take them down to a flat in Westminster? And numerous other questions. They don't want to talk to you. Why? I believe that they're guilty. So, based on me outing one of the 76 that Bill Maloney put a claim to, I think we need to start digging some more names and actually outing them.
I've already started on that one, mate.
Nice one, Kaz.
Who's that, Kaz?
Well, I've already started on that research. I started on that months ago. I'm up to more than 78, 79. There's quite a few more that we should be worried about, to be fair. But I'll not go into detail now because my research isn't finished.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, I have a few out there at the Westminster event that have come up over the last couple of days, in fact.
I mean, you've got some that are linked with popular internet, shall we say, publications that are of some concern within those networks.
Yeah.
And
for the start.
Sorry, Russell, you were saying there about something that's come up in the last couple of days.
Yeah, no, a couple of names, yeah, that have over the last couple of months. I've been trying to make this connection between these pedophiles and their agenda over the last 50, 60 years, and I'm trying to tie that in at the moment with the influx of designer drugs coming into the UK and the relaxation laws on alcohol and the relaxation laws, pornography and the rest of it. Because what do we find when we look at a lot of cases, whether, you know, it's victims and survivors or whether it's, Dolphin Square or Halifax Grooming Gang? Three of the components that are often in the background and more often is alcohol, pornography and drugs. Look at society. What we've had forced on us since the late 80s. Alcohol, pornography and drugs. And they're doing exactly the same thing as they do to the victims, but they're doing it on a mass scale. This is how because everybody finds child abuse horrific, but society is dumbed down. It's been deliberately dumbed down. And as I say, because they want you to look at 1960, because they're coming for the school curriculum and they're coming for it right now. They're not interested in abusing your children any longer. Yeah, because that's too dangerous for them. It's too risky for them. You know, they stand a chance of getting caught. What they want to do is subvert your children. And look at society.
Do you know the new policy for sex education in school? 5 to 7, they're taught about reproduction. 7 to 11, they're taught about other things, including relationships, and depending on the school, more intimate detail like oral, anal.
Yeah. I don't think you can
7 to 11?
Yeah, 7 to you can't wake a 7-year-old's child
because
sexuality.
And they're saying it's because some children hit early onset puberty at 8. I'm sorry, those are the children that are generally abused anyway.
Yeah. I think forcing that on them is
they are.
It's abuse. Just forcing that on them, forcing that education. You can't wake a 7-year-old child's sexuality. What happens when you wake that sexuality and that little girl goes,
it becomes predatory.
Of course it does. You can have 7-year-old boys touch, 7-year-old girls because they don't see anything wrong in it, and they're right not to see anything wrong in it because they're children. They can't distinguish. They can't distinguish whether, that's assault. It's they're going to have sexuality.
But they know it's not right.
Well, it's we continue
at the
with
start. They know it's not right.
If we continue with this educational agenda that's in place at the moment, we will be birthing generations of children that we will call monsters in 10 years. We will call them monsters in 10 years. And it'll be our fault. It won't be their fault. It'll be our fault. It'll be our fault because we didn't stop it, because we didn't get off our arse, because we thought our gas warrants, our court seals, and we thought our law was far more important than protecting the children. We thought, this is social, I've said it many a time, social media. There's so many movements over social media. And lots of them have got very valid ideas, valid points. But we need you guys to come across here and just lend a 10th of your support. Just a 10th. We will do the rest if you lend us support. No good just liking and sharing. We need that little bit more from you. Give us that, guys, and we'll end this for you. We'll end this for you.
Great words, Russell.
Because as I say, I'll go to jail before I put up with this in Britain. I'll go to jail. Liberty or life. That's the deal I made 5 years ago.
Yeah, we're talking about all these indoctrinations in schools today. Well, it was rampant in Nottingham in my days of being in school. We had a school teacher by the name of Jock Bowley. He was actually fired by the county council, yet found himself reinstated by the city council. He went on from my school to another school that our good friend Diane Hawley, one of our fellow ralliers, went to. He molested the kid in the school showers, and they deny him too, both the city and the county council. I was molested by a headmaster that doesn't exist, yet through finding all my old school friends, they all say that he existed, but the police are doing nothing. The councils say they have no records beyond 1974, a legal loophole that they've created by saying that they handed all those documents over to the county council. Well, they're in really dark waters now because they denied Alan Smith. I'll repeat that name, Alan Smith. Right? This man, well, he's not a man, he's a piece of shit.
Not related to Cyril, is it?
Well, maybe we need to do some checks. But at the end of the day, right, they claimed that in 2013 that he did not exist. Then, when we went down to the Nottinghamshire archives looking for stuff, we found him in a court register by name, in the very position that I'd actually given in my evidence to the police, the deputy head of social services. That man went on to be the regional director for the East Midlands. Now, they deny he exists. Now,
hang on. That evidence should not have been public accessible.
How do you mean?
They shouldn't have been able to access it, ideally. When you give evidence like that, you're meant to be doing it securely.
Well, they claim that he doesn't exist.
No, but when you give your evidence, you are meant to be doing it securely, and your evidence is then not meant to be able to be accessed later on. So how could they then find a copy of your evidence?
Well, there's a lot of questions there. There's a lot of questions need answering, but
do you see what I mean?
Yeah, but the thing is, when they denying his existence, he's still alive, and they're paying him a pension. So how can they deny he exists?
It's usually the case, isn't it? Get caught, fired, move to another section, move to another branch, move to another location. It happens. Yeah.
Change the name slightly, drop the middle name.
You get promoted.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, for them, they've got to have that contact in place somewhere to protect themselves. You know, that systemic. This is stemming through every facet we've got in life, whether it's social services, the schools, the churches, all of it. For me, these people, including the police, they've got people in key positions that are knocking back this information, that are stopping these inquiries, that are stopping. It's running right across the board. It's running right across the board.
The web is spun absolutely from Land's End to, I don't know, Nova Scotia. It's that big. It's in power.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I've got a big duster.
Yeah, I've got a big Hoover.
I'm just wondering, guys, would this be a good time to have another quick tune so everybody can freshen up a few seconds? And or did you want to fire on straight to the end?
Does the audience want to know anything? Do they want any questions? Do they?
Well, if we play
Not
a quick
seen
tune,
anything come up.
Okay.
I'm sure there'll be any questions.
I'm still looking for a chat room, but my skills with technology are a little bit redundant.
We're a bit.
I'll link it to you over a track now, Russell.
Okay. We're a bit under the weather on the site at the minute, so we've got a temporary chat room there. So.
No, it's me. Is this? You know, I'm a technophobe.
Okay.
It's in chat on Skype for you now, mate.
Okay. Yeah, we'll have a break then.
Okay.
Hit the tunes, Andy.
We'll play a quick tune. Good evening and welcome back to Enemy Within on peoplesinternetradio.com, where we are seeking solutions. And tonight we've got with me Mickey Summers, Russell Burton, Kaz and Mark Fragz Smith. So where do we go next, guys?
I think
Liverpool.
Mark wants to do something on Liverpool.
Yeah, if that's okay.
Yeah, go
well, just to give everyone the information really that there's a similar protest tomorrow at Liverpool. 11 o'clock, we're all meeting outside the World Museum. I will be walking through the streets of Liverpool making plenty of noise. I literally picked up the megaphone last night for that. So, and this obviously ties in, this is the unity with obviously what Kaz and Mickey and Russell have been doing today and obviously in the past. I mean, I just jump in, I take a camera and make a bit of noise and throw a video up for exposure. I mean, that's really how I fit in, to be honest, because them guys do so much work.
You do a great job. You do a great job.
It's a lot easier for me, in all fairness, Russell. Come on, stop being modest. You do plenty, a lot you do. But, yeah, it's, so that's happening tomorrow. There's approximately going to be 170 people there. This will be the third one.
Wow.
This is going from strength to strength as well. Same day, London. I think Birmingham might be doing something. And a few other places. But all this has got ties into America as well. They're doing it in a couple of states.
I believe there's one in Manchester as well. And
I wasn't sure. Thanks, Kaz.
There was one in Australia today as well.
That's interesting. I wasn't aware of that either.
Or was it New Zealand? One or the other. It was Australia or New Zealand. It was Antipodean anyway.
Yeah, well, with this, I mean...
That's a long word for this time on a Friday night, isn't it?
Absolutely. That's got to show what Russell and I even hit on before, how global this is, because it's happening everywhere. And once it's happening everywhere, it's far too close. It's not isolated anymore, that's the problem. But anyway, going back, so Liverpool, this will be the third one, and it's going to be absolutely huge. And I've got to say a big thanks to all the admin. Also, Mersey Spring is a printers that have bent over backwards for us as well, because we have no funds, so we scraped together, and they've done us a brilliant deal, so they definitely credit where it's due with them. These are things that make it happen. I mean, you approach people, Kaz has done it, Mickey's done it, Russell's done it, you know, you've got nothing to lose, you approach them, and you'd be quite surprised how many people are noticing this. And this is
Ross and I could do with that number for the printer then, please.
Yeah, absolutely. You just get hold of me whenever, however, no problem.
If there's any... Can I just jump in there? If there are any guys out there that can help us with printing, banners, leaflets, please get in contact with us.
Absolutely.
We're desperate.
Anything at all that can help any of us. We're all over the country. Everyone knows everybody. And if you're not sure, just ask us. It'd be quite surprising. I met a great chap last night who's pretty set up. I'll just call him John anyway. I think a few people know him. He's connected to someone in the Liverpool United Against Child Abuse group. He's pretty set up. He's obviously very proactive as well. And his heart's totally in the right place. We do exist. We're all over the show. Ignore the media. They're killing the empathy. That's it really. So yeah, big thanks to all the admin over there in Liverpool. See you all tomorrow.
Thanks.
Good luck with Liverpool. I wanted to be there, buddy, but Westminster's kind of my thing, and
I've noticed.
I'm going to try tomorrow. Let's see if we can rattle things up. They're going to get the full Northern Quarter tomorrow.
Absolutely brilliant. Represent those. And then
I'm absolutely exhausted, so I'm sorry I can't be anywhere. I need some downtime with my family and my dog.
It's not a problem.
There's going to be no alleged list tomorrow in Westminster. Trust me.
Sock it to the muscle.
Absolutely.
Like you did last time, people, you want to get online and have a listen to that speech. It's really moving and it's so bloody spot on.
I was terrified.
Well, once you got that mic, your passion came out very, very strong, dude.
Well, that tends to be the way. Once you get up there, it's just making that little step, isn't it, guys? Just that tiny little step, because it's terrifying before you get it. But I'm telling you guys,
it's like a huge fucking cliff when you stood on the edge of it.
Absolutely.
The media's keeping us pinched by theirs, though, isn't it? That's the thing, you see. That's the enemy. We've got to shake that off, and then we start meeting people where a lot of people these days, because of just the media alone, are thinking they're on their own. They're not. All you got to do is get to these events, have a good day out. I mean, Liverpool, for example, a brilliant historical city, and all these big arts are all getting together now, and this is the way forward. We've said it a few times tonight. It's that simple and it's that easy. You're meeting like-minded people. People. I remember growing up. I'd open the door for old people and for females, so to speak. You're meeting people like that again, who I once thought at one point, a good part of my older life, I thought that was over now. But no, the people are there, they're all coming back out together. More the merrier all the time. We have a good laugh, as serious as it is. And we are seeing results up and down the country. We all speak to each other, we all speak to other people. We're all speaking to those fantastic people in the background as well, who just do that little bit, which just helps, And it all links together. It's very easy once you start, but don't let the media keep you pinned to your chair. Get up, get talking. I'm picking people up who wouldn't be getting anywhere without it, more than happy to do it. Everyone's doing this kind of thing. I've got to give Wendy Earth a shout there, because I don't know how she does. I don't know how she does it. She's everywhere, that woman. Absolutely everywhere.
She gets about.
Well, she's staying with her son this evening. She's up here in Huddersfield staying with her son, who lives up
right, I spoke to her earlier. Yeah.
She's an absolute trooper.
This is a retired older woman, and she gets everywhere.
Who was, and I'm sorry, I won't withhold her name because I have such a fucking problem with her. She was manipulated by Melanie Shaw, unfairly treated by Melanie Shaw, who is currently up on charges of racially abusing a 17-year-old lass with learning difficulties. And I'm sorry, if any of you have donated to the Brooks Trust, I would suggest cancelling the cheque.
Right.
To be fair.
I've got Melanie's background, but what she's involved with
when she was walking
around
still using smack in front of people in the last 3 weeks.
Right, okay.
That people out there listening have donated via UK column to actually buy for her.
Yeah.
Yeah. Then I think they have a right to know.
Well,
to be honest.
But the only thing I'm going to add to that, I'm a very good friend of the victim's mother. The mother has been a friend of my family for decades, and I'm not going to say no more because I refuse to get involved on the basis I will not prejudice a trial.
Well, no, this is all I'm going to say about it, but I believe people should know the truth.
Or seek for the truth if they don't believe it, but on hearsay as well. like anything else.
Yeah.
But the truth will out in the long run.
Absolutely.
Let's try and wrap it up on a bit of a giggle bit, really, because we all know about the injunction that Nottingham City Council took against me to try and silence me. Well, what they do, they try to exploit loopholes. Well, they banned me from the council house, and they banned me from Loxley House. Well, John Collins, the leader of the city council, he was attending a meeting in my local area in Clifton in Nottingham, and it's not on the list of places that I'm banned from. Well, we had an interesting situation after one of the last rallies in London. I came back and I announced it on social media, my timetable for the day, and I got into my flat. No sooner had I walked in, my window went through. So we know because there was only a handful of people know where I live, and all those people were accounted for. So the only other people that would know where I live was people from Nottingham City Council. Well, the police have got the plant pot, but as a gesture of goodwill, I took Councillor Collins a plant for his plant pot on Monday and presented him with it. But,
which one was it, Bill or Ben, Mickey?
Well,
Little weed.
One of the plant pot men, but he was quite aggressive when he came in, telling me that I was banned. And what he was trying to do was provoke a reaction, because he came with a police escort. I mean, that's the bravery of the man, you know.
So he would oppose it.
Yeah, well, let him do what he wants, but we had a good day in court for the injunction, because I actually managed to shame Alison Machalska. Now, she is the woman that was brought from Humberside having failed baby F. That child will be brain damaged for the rest of its life. She fired her managers, right, and then got brought by the current chief executive Ian Currier to Nottingham, right, to enforce this cover-up. Well, last year, myself, Mandy, my wife Lorraine, we were in a meeting with Alison Machalska, and we have a record of it that she promised help to a fellow survivor, a Beechwood survivor, who was in a similar situation to me as what I was 12 years ago, a struggling addict, promised funding to put that chap into rehab. Sadly, that person is no longer with us. As far as I'm concerned, Alison Machalska has got blood on her hands, and I announced that in open court.
And she's a snake with tits.
that is her official nickname.
But the other thing that will rattle them more than anything, we've got people on the inside at the council that feed us information. There's going to be a city councillor that's going to stand down, and part of the reason for standing down is the Nottingham child abuse cover-up. Well, I made it clear in court and got clear grounding from Judge Nigel Godsmark that I am allowed to go and put a verbal assault on anything connected with the child abuse to each and every one of the city councillors as part of an election campaign. And Judge Godsmark said that is quite acceptable. He also upholds my right to protest. So as far as I'm concerned, Nottingham City Council, in the words of Jeremy Kyle, you can go and do one. I'm going to keep coming back, and you can take me out of the equation. And people like Russell Burton, Karen, Mark Smith, Andy Coupland, you name it, they'll just take my place, and we'll keep coming back. No retreat, no surrender.
Absolutely.
Nobody can set your place, Mickey. You're one in a million. No, you're one in a million.
Well, until he starts quoting Bruce Springsteen, then I'm sorry, everyone should.
It's going to be a good laugh when we get to the actual hearing, because we have lots of witnesses, and they need to be very, very careful, because a lot of those meetings that we had when I was in New York, where they actually told lies, were actually recorded, and they're aware of the fact that they were recorded. So they'll be going into evidence, into giving what they call evidence on oath, and they'll be committing perjury. And I made it quite clear to Judge Godsmark QC that I require him to hold them accountable when proved that they've committed perjury and jail them. That is where they belong. They're criminals.
Yeah, we want to speak to these people.
Clock's ticking for them, and they start to show the signs. I just want to mention as well, if anyone who's listening wants to see some of the stuff when we've been out and about, if you go to Alter Edge Media One Word YouTube channel, you can see quite a lot there. I know Andy's got a couple up on his YouTube channel as well. So you can see us in all our finer glory, making the noise and not backing down.
Yeah, some great videos there, Fragz. I believe Kaz and Russell have still got a few words to say. So, Kaz, do you want to go first?
I think it was Russell first. With,
oh, sorry.
The next bit that he was going to say.
Oh, Westminster.
Yeah. I just want to encourage people to either listen in or Westminster. I think Westminster's going to be a big day for us tomorrow. I think there's a bit of an all-star lineup down there. That should resonate across social media. Looking forward to it. I'm looking forward to, in fact, I've got to get on. I do it to myself every time. I should have had the speech written. I've got about 2 hours to finish it now. So I'll be jumping on that. If you can support us tomorrow, guys, get yourself down there. There are new people coming into the campaign all the time. Big shout out to Jason Notter that came over and supported us today and did some film work for us. Thank you for that. Yeah, Jason's going to be joining us now on the campaign trail. And a big shout out to
I didn't see him.
Did you not?
No, I didn't. And I thought he would have come over and said hello, but he didn't, the swine.
Oh, all right. And again,
so you've just dropped him in shit, you have.
Again, social media, please join the campaign. We're not asking you to walk away from your campaigns, but if you truly believe in common law, you can't have any law if we don't defend the rights of these children. You can never be a free man if we do not defend the rights of these children. Defend these rights of these children, and it is winner takes all, guy. There's a massive structure behind this. If you want to fix the common law, if you want to fix the gas meters, if you want to fix the stuff that you've got going through the judicial system, fix this. Because you fix this, you fix the rest. Just before I finish, can I just say a big thank you to my partner, Rachel Chip. Without her support and without her, well, she acts as my PA, to be honest. Rachel.
She's your boss, give over. She's your boss.
I love her to bits.
And absolutely, Russell. We all have people supporting us in the background who never get their voice heard, but they're as big a part of this as we are. And without them, we just couldn't do it.
Absolutely.
Yeah, well, we've got Russell that's going to talk about Westminster, as we call it. But for a future show, I mean, I'd like to see the input of Russell and Chris Tuck together, and maybe Sharon Chesterman. They together are a real force to be reckoned with. Me and Kaz might be the voice of people that are starting to stand up, and the voices of those that are yet to be heard. But presenting the national picture, I don't believe we've got anyone bigger than Russell, Chris Tuck, and Sharon at Crossroads.
Let's get it booked in.
Sounds good to me.
Chris Tuck you will not be able to get because she is part of the survivors panel of the inquiry. So she will not be allowed to give public views anymore.
I'm with you. Okay, that's fine, Cass. Yeah.
Okay.
That I will tell you now.
Uh-huh.
And that in itself is wrong because that is silencing people in itself.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Hey, it's the way they work, though, isn't it? You know?
Yes.
Well, there might be a remedy to that.
That is part of their cover-up by silencing Chris Tuck. They silenced one whole section.
Well, we've always got Nigel O'Mara.
Yep, I'm interested in that remedy, Mark. What's that remedy?
I don't want to say now in case it falls through.
Okay.
I'm always working on stuff, as you all know.
There's more than one way to skin a cat, isn't there, Mark?
Now she is involved with the survivors panel, she can no longer be verbal.
Yeah.
God, Chris. Otherwise it becomes sub judice.
Yeah. Okay.
Essentially.
Mm-hmm.
And that's all they want. Yeah.
Yeah. That just wipes out the whole inquiry then, and that's the last thing any of us want or need.
Yeah, absolutely.
Oh,
But it is what they want.
Yeah, totally agree.
It does discredit everything that they are doing, and it is what they want. They want one of us, one of them, to fuck up and undermine everything.
Yeah.
That is what they are hoping and praying for, because that now is the only thing that is going to save them, essentially.
Oh, nothing's going to
You
save
look
them.
at you look at Halifax alone, yeah? Rod Ryle, the director, was convicted. The head of the assessment centre, now the assessment centre in each area decides what child is going to go where, whether it's in borough or out of borough. It decides if they're going to spend hundreds of pounds every week keeping them somewhere elsewhere because their mates are too much hassle to deal with, or if they're going to keep them local and abuse them. Yeah, that's your assessment centre. So you've got that all going through, and I've forgotten where it was now.
Come on, Kaz.
Yeah, I know. Where was I?
You were just talking about local or whether they move children away, or was that?
Yeah.
Part? Yeah.
Your local. What name did it start with? Because my head's just gone blank.
You mentioned that just looking at Halifax alone, who'd been convicted.
Oh yeah, Rod Ryle convicted. Malcolm Phillips convicted. Yeah, Andrew Shoulders dead. Rod Shields dead. Now, when they were all in childcare in Halifax, David Anderson, the head of Closely Kids Home, had to go into hospital in mid-80s for an operation. And he was in there for several weeks. They decided that whilst he was in hospital, they needed a deputy for the kids' home. Now, this was a kids' home I went into in 1990 and 91 and had no actual problems there, apart from the ones that I created for myself, with various drinking problems and staying out problems and absconding from Wrexham back to their problems. But anyway, they went into hospital and said, look, we need a deputy to take your place while you're in hospital and cover the home. We've come up with somewhat of a short list and we'd like you to add a few names to it. So, drug addled, he marked a few names, and they went away, and after he got out of hospital, a couple of weeks into his home recuperation, there were a number of staff knocking on his door saying, look, you need to come back to work, because this guy that they've brought in is taking young boys home at weekend with him for the weekend. So he goes back into work to find that Rod Ryle and Rod Shields, who shared the checking, the monitoring of kids' homes between them, had put in place a guy called George Lincoln. This was in 85. Now, 86 is the last recorded time that George Lincoln worked for an authority. That authority was Leicester, and he was the deputy under Frank Becker at one of the homes down there. And he was convicted along with Frank Beck during the trial in which Jana was named.
Mm-hmm.
Oops.
Yeah, well, we can all talk about people like Jana.
So Leicester expect us.
Well, Leicester and Nottingham, really, because we was talking with Sergeant Holden today, and he's very much aware of the Chief Constable of Nottingham, who was actually at Leicester, and we believe during the time of the McCann thing and the Jana, and what is he doing now? He's having failed in Leicester, failing in Nottingham, 5 years of Operation Daybreak. He starts a new operation called Operation Series because the numbers are getting too high in order to create the city and the county council who don't want it looking really as bad as what it is. And we're going to be holding our next rally in Nottingham on October the 3rd.
Yeah.
With a march from the Goose Fair down Mansfield Road, past City Police Station and onto the Market Square. we're calling for his dismissal. Paddy Tippin, Crime Commissioner Nottingham, if you're listening, you've got the power to sack him. Get rid of him now.
Mm-hmm.
Please tell me it's not on a Saturday.
It is.
Oh, you... I won't say that word.
Mickey...
I'm sorry, but I have this thing about what is the point in holding a protest on a day when nobody in power is actually in the office. They're all at home.
This is about public awareness, Kaz.
I know, but you get what I mean. You can't get the interns going into the offices and change their minds about the career they're going into.
Yeah. It's all about who you're targeting, isn't it?
Yeah, it's
you can't get the new officials and turn their attention away from where their job might take them if you target Saturdays. Public awareness is fantastic, but we also need authority awareness. Mm-hmm. I mean, I'll still be there on the 3rd with bells on.
Right, Kaz, I'm sorry to cut you short there, but we're running into the last few minutes of the show.
Yeah,
so I'd like to tell everyone, please stay tuned for Martin Farrell at 9:00, and I'm sure he'll have a cracking show lined up. I don't know what he's got planned tonight. And then from 9 to 11, from 11 to 1, we've got the tremendous Unique Lee on the dark side of the room. Brilliant show that always.
One last shout out for Strider and Goody, because they are fantastic and they are brilliant researchers and they hold me up no end. Strider is from down in Devon and Goodness is from the US.
Yeah.
And both researching the activities of paedophiles within the establishment, and big up to them both.
Thank you for that.
Both.
I hope you've
and
got
all
something.
you guys. And all you guys, of course.
And
I hope you've got something for the rats in the council.
Oh yeah, we've got that lined up and ready to go, Mickey. Have anybody else got any links to give out before we play a tune and play out?
I'm good with that. I just want to tell David Cameron, I'll see you tomorrow, mate.
And I'd like to tell John Collins, and John Collins, Ian Courier from Shaska, we'll see you in court.
Will.
That's it. And have you got anything else you can give out, Mark?
No, I've said everything. Thanks for the platform. Thanks to all the listeners. It's not an easy subject.
Thank you, Andy.
Have a good evening, have a good weekend, and love you all.
Yep.
And if you can't be good, be careful.
Yeah, bit late for that.
That's brilliant. I'd just like to take a couple of moments to say thank you so much to all of you for coming on. Mickey and Fragz, we've had up lined up for a few weeks now. Kaz has known about it, but Russell stepped right in at the last minute, even though he's been out and busy all day. I didn't get Russell added on Skype till about 30 seconds before we went on air, so it was a bit last minute. As usual seems to be the way just lately. Plans changing and shifting every last minute.
Absolute pleasure, Andy. Thank you for the invite.
No, we'd love to get you back on again sometime soon, Russell, when you got a chance.
Absolutely, yeah.
I'd also like to say a big thank you to everybody in the chat room for all your comments and questions. They've been very well targeted, respectful, and very knowledgeable as always. So
thanks to everyone who came to Wakefield today.
Yeah, thank everyone who comes to Wakefield, and anybody who can possibly get to Liverpool tomorrow.
The police that were working it again, because we had huge respect from them today again.
Yeah.
And I can't say enough for the police liaison team.
That's fabulous. Right, folks, I'd say thank you very much and good night, and stay tuned for Martin Farrell and Let's Talk. And
good night, guys.
Good night.
Take care, everybody. Bye for now.
Bye.
Good night, Lorraine, and good night, everybody. And here's one for Nottingham City Council.